Hello and welcome to my video, lesson 5.2, characteristics of polynomial functions. So before we even really get into this, just a reminder to watch the last video, 5.1, where we talk about these topics. We're going to get straight into this. So degree is the highest exponent on the variable. And that's usually x, at least when we're talking about it. And the number of x-intercepts, so number of x-intercepts can be shown like this. So if we have a graph that looks like this, then there are 1, 2, 3 x-intercepts. Okay? So however many times it hits the x-axis. Okay, and the y-intercept is given with the constant term. The end behavior is given by the leading coefficient. Okay, and especially the sign, if it's plus or minus. So just a reminder about that, it's plus gives us a smiley face, minus gives us a frowny face. Domain is pretty much, it's always going to be the same. It's going to be x is a real number every time because x continues off going to the left and always continues off going to the right as well. The range is going to be y is a real number if the degree is odd. Otherwise, it will be based off of something else. So keep that in mind. And then the number of turning points is also 1, or the degree minus 1. Let's say one less than the degree. Turning point. Okay, so let's get started here. The first one is a linear equation, a degree of 1. So that's pretty straightforward. So this has degree 1. Actually, I'm just going to go with if I have the color right, then I'm just going to go with that. So that's the degree of 1. This has number of x-intercepts. Well, this is linear, so the graph is going to look pretty straightforward. We're going to have a graph that looks something like this. Whoops. Something that looks like this. So we're going to have this, and we're going to have like this. So how many times is it hitting? Well, just one time. Just one time. So just one x-intercept. The y-intercept is given by the constant, so that's right here. So y equals 7. And the leading coefficient is the 2. So that and it's just a positive 2. So that means the end behavior is going to be going towards quadrant 1, or another way of saying that is it's going up. Okay, the domain is always going to be the same. X is a real number in that sense. And because it's odd, it's also going to be y is a real number. Number of turning points is the degree minus 1. The degree is 1, so the turning points is 0. Okay, really straightforward. Let's try the second one out. So degree of what? Oh, I didn't even put it into math looking stuff. So give me a second there. There's a fancy button in OneNote that lets you switch directly to math. Okay, so and I'll do this one too, so it looks nice. Nice and mathy. Okay, so the degree here is the highest exponent, so it's a degree of 2. The number of x-intercepts, we're going to have to take a look at the graph in a second, so we're going to skip that one. We're going to go to the constant term, which is the 2 here. So that's the y equals 2. And the coefficient in front is the is a 1, a positive 1. So that means it's going to quadrant 1, or it's going up. Okay, x is a real number, and the number of turning points is degree minus 1, so the turning points is 1. So what do we still need to get? Well, we need to get the range, and we need to get the number of x-intercepts. So let's take a look at the graph and how that would look. So if we take a look here on the right, we have a graphing calculator. This is the TI-84 plus CE. This is the button layout that you'd have, and this is the screen right on top of it normally, but this is what it looks like on the computer. Okay, so let's take a look. If you press y equals, it brings up this screen where you can actually type in what y equals. So here we have x squared, so we put alpha x. So now we get an x, so right there's a little x, and then squared plus 3x plus 2. So now we have the function. We press enter. Then we press graph. If it's not showing up, try pressing zoom 6, which gets you to zoom standard. Okay, and that would just get you that your window functions are, your window settings are from -10 to +10 in the x and the y direction. So this is -10 over here, +10, -10, +10. Okay, so now we have our graph, and maybe this is not entirely clear. So let's zoom in maybe a little bit. So we can actually zoom in if we want. So we can zoom in just by going like that, and then putting our crosshairs where we want to go. And it zooms in, and now we can see that we actually have 2 x-intercepts. So if we look at our thing to the right, it's in purple. Just trying to remember what color we're supposed to be in. We have 2 x-intercepts. Okay, the range is a little bit more challenging. We need to find the minimum here because it goes up from there. So second function calc, we're going to find the minimum, which is giving us the vertex here along the bottom. Enter, enter, and then we're going to kind of guess. And this tells us that the vertex is -1.5, and the y value is -0.25 or sorry, this is the wrong color, -1/4. So y is greater than or equal to -1/4, okay, or 0.25, -0.25, okay? Fractions are always much nicer if you have them. Okay, so hopefully that's pretty straightforward. Go ahead and try to solve these next two. Pause the video when you're ready. Okay, we're going to try them out right now, just to see if you guys have gotten them correct. So I'm going to just plug them in. So 4 alpha squared x squared minus 6x plus 1. The next one is going to be alpha x cubed. Oops, I went too far. There you go. X cubed. Just wait, please. 2x squared minus 2x plus 8. So here we have the function for the second one. and just double checking that that's correct. Yep. And so now we can press enter, and let's try both of those at the same time. So let's graph them. Oh, you can see I'm still zoomed in from before, so zoom 6 to get the regular amount of zoom. And you can see it's still cutting off at the top, but we have enough information that we can tell what's going on. But if it's not enough for you, we can actually expand just our positive y values to be a little bit higher. So let's try that. Is that going to be enough? Yes, it is. So you can see that this red one is a cubic function. It has 3 different slopes. It turns twice. And so hopefully you guys can see that. I'm going to go through and list the different things really quickly. So this is a, oh, I did it. Let's do blue first because blue was the first one here. So blue has 2 x-intercepts, degree of 2, 2 x-intercepts. The y-intercept is 1. The end behavior is positive or going up to the right. Oh, did I make any of these negative? Hopefully E is negative. If not, I will make it negative. What else do we have here? So we have domain. X is a real number. And this is the tricky part. Let's actually do the turning point first. There is 1 turning point. Okay, so the y, or the range, is the tricky part. So we've got second function calc. Let's do the minimum. So, whoops, no, we want to be on the blue one. There, all the way to here. And it's going to be in the middle. So roughly there. And now it tells us the minimum is 0.75 and y equals negative 1.25. So now what are we going to do? Let's write down the minimum is that y is greater than or equal to negative 5 quarters, or negative 1.25. And that's it. So the other function is the one in red, and we can see that there is one x-intercept right over here. Okay, is that right? No, highest degree, so that's 3. Whoops. Number of x-intercepts, there's 1. The constant term is y equals 8. The direction is positive because of the leading coefficient, 2q1, which is up. I'm going to make this negative for the next one. So it's up, and what else? Okay, and our turning points, how many turning points do we have? We have 2 turning points. We have x is a real number, any real number. We have y is any real number. Because it's an odd degree, that means that it has y as any real number. Okay, and our last one, go ahead and try it out and pause the video. And when you're ready, press play. All right, so here you go. This is the last one. Plugging it in, I just want to have one more. Now, it might seem like you can't really tell what's going on, so let's just try to zoom in and see if it makes a little bit more sense if we zoom in. So let's zoom in right over here. And you can see that it looks like there's not really much going on here. But because it doesn't have all of those extra terms, okay, right? It doesn't have x to the 4, x to the 3, all that other stuff. It just turns a bunch of times, but like all in on itself. And so this actually is there's only 2 turning points, okay? Which is kind of strange. Okay, other than that, you can find that there's only, if you figure it out really carefully, you can find that the y-intercept is 0 because there's no constant term. You can also find out that the x-intercept is 0. It'll be right directly on there. But there's only one x-intercept. Okay, it has degree of 5, but it only has one x-intercept. This goes, because it's negative, it goes to quadrant 4, or down. But because it is a 5, then we can say x is a real number, and because it's an odd number there, that's a 5, you can say y is a real number. Okay, just for curiosity's sake, what if we had a even number? So let's go like that, and maybe whoops, I can't do that. Maybe I'll go like this. Graph. Excuse me. Oh, I guess I have to put more values in. Plus x squared plus x minus 4. Is that going to work? I think we need all of them. Yeah, I'm just making a pretty ridiculous function just so that we can see it look kind of weird. Okay, so hopefully it does look kind of weird to you. Maybe you're not sure if it's going to be like where the maximum is going to be. Maybe it's in different locations. You can actually start with your left bound pretty far to the left, and you can start with your right bound pretty far to the right. Okay? If you're not sure if it's going to be this maximum or if it's going to be this maximum, you can just go ahead and move the bound a little bit further. All right, I hope this video helps you understand characteristics of polynomial functions and a little bit of graphing as well on top of that. Good luck, everyone. Bye.